the whole notion of kind of Web 2.0 was, really only months beforehand. And so in the book, I talked a lot about collaboration and digital democracy and things like that, but a lot of the book was about how to transform government through technology. And what I said was that essentially we had the technology to do amazing things now, but our thinking hadn't caught up with the technology. And it was after the dot-com collapse and everything. And it actually took, I think, about 4 to 5 years for the thinking to finally catch up. And now our imagination has actually caught up to what the technology allows us to do. Yeah. We've got energy independence, we've got the war in Afghanistan, we've got immigration reform. But the biggest challenge we face is probably our ability to actually execute on these challenges. The American people today don't trust government to get it right. Only 23% say that they actually trust government to do the right thing. So we're facing what we see as a big kind of this results gap. And that's the gap between political promises and citizen expectations and actual results. And it's a very, very dangerous gap. And the book is really all about how do you close that gap and deliver actual results that citizens are looking for. Well, you think about the whole point of right now, in many times when we have a big transformation project in an agency, you oftentimes will have a big divide between what the headquarters wants to do and then what the line level people think is actually possible and what they want to do. So you have this big gap, and they spend a lot of time and effort spinning wheels because they don't have alignment. What Gov 2.0 tools can do, things like crowdsourcing and prediction markets, is actually you can raise those concerns from the line level up and aggregate them in a way that wasn't possible before, and use all of that and use that feedback to actually close that gap between the agency and others. I think there's, first of all, what the community can learn from the book is really about how do you execute big, large, complex government initiatives. And in my mind now, one of the most important elements of getting these things right at every stage, from ideation to the design stage to implementation to actual results, is there's all sorts of Gov 2.0 tools that can enable us to do things that were simply not possible to do before. And so what I'd like to see the Gov 2.0 kind of folks get into now is how do we actually enable agencies to better carry out their mission and realize these large implementations? Well, I think it's a lot of times you'll find that the people who are running a lot of large initiatives have been in government for 20, 30 years. They might not be as familiar with the tools. And I think you need to show people what they can do, get their imagination going with them. But just start a lot of pilot experiments. The wonderful thing about Gov 2.0 tools is that you can start them up with very little money, and if they don't work, they don't work. So they get the whole model of fail small, fail fast works wonderfully. Well, I think a lot of it is going to also depend on politicians who are savvy enough on how to use these tools, and they're using them with an earnest belief in trying to bringing people in new sorts of ways and figuring out creatively how to do that. People are very, very busy, so I think we need to be very, very creative about this. But the key thing is this, that it's going to be about when we tie all these Gov 2.0 applications into the actual mission of the agencies and doing important things. So if people can see that with healthcare implementation or with immigration reform or some of these big mega issues that they care a lot about, that they can have an input and a voice through Gov 2.0 tools, that will start to make a difference. Another strand of research I'm looking at now is I'm looking a lot at future trends. And we're looking at essentially some of the technology, business, societal trends that are going to affect government in the future. And so just with Gov 2.0, we tried to look out about 5 years. In this case, we're looking out another 5 to 10 years. And spending a lot of time in Silicon Valley and a lot of time in Boston and other places like that, top technologists. And what I'm seeing is absolutely amazing. I mean, and that most people in government have no idea about what's going on. But I think that combination of cloud computing and Gov 2.0, or clouds and crowds, is going to have an absolutely transformational impact on government.